Or yeah, I'll leave this episode looking like a hero of some sort. People are like, this guy, man, he really worked through a lot of hard times. You know what I mean? So I was like, so we can talk about it. Have you been working out? Let's let's talk about some. If you want, let's talk before we go and do anything. Let's talk about dieting and weight loss real quick. 'Cause I know you said you were struggling with it. You know what I mean? I figured maybe we could have a cool conversation about it, because I've had some recent breakthroughs with my mental health and my weight loss stuff that I think maybe it'll be a cool conversation to have. Be very honest, and it's going to be very maybe people could consider. I don't know if it's going to be disturbing, but it's people might find it disturbing. You know what I mean? Like. Or I'll leave this episode looking like a hero of some sort. People will be like, this guy, man, he really works through a lot of hard times. You know what I mean? So I was like, so we can talk about it. Have you been working out?
No,
not at all.
Well, I mean, not like when we were in Ohio, like I was swimming, so it wasn't like intentional working out, but I was working out
for sure, just by being active. Yeah. You know what? But you know what I had realized, what I learned too about that, like healthy people find themselves in those situations all the time, right? Because they'll be like, oh yeah, I went hiking today just because I enjoy being outside. Meanwhile, like if they had some sort of fitness band, you would see that they had burned like 2,000 calories, and they're always doing something healthy by accident. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I like skateboarding, and it's like, what? But skateboarding will burn like billions of calories. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what though too? It's like it's like staying busy. You know, like I think what happens is it's like once you get like really big, it like zaps your energy,
for sure,
like, and your motivation. So like even like I don't think people realize, like, if you're just active in your house, like if there's things that need to be done and you're getting them done, you're going to lose. I mean, especially if you're big, you're going to lose weight because you're not eating.
Yeah.
And you're moving. Correct. You know what I mean? So I think that's where that's one of the things I'm struggling with, like my energy.
Yeah.
And just thinking about, oh man, like, I'll put it off, but then like there's times like I'll be sweating doing whatever task like I have to do. So
being sedentary, there is a clear correlation, right? Like if you look at like My 600-Pound Life, not that I never really watched it because it was.
I watched every episode.
I didn't watch it because it was too for me, especially when I was heavier, it was too much looking in the mirror.
Right.
It was too like I can't accept that this is me, right? It was clearly me, but I couldn't accept it. But there's a reason why you see that those houses be really messy and are set up in a way for a lazy person. You know what I mean? Makeshift tables next to the bed or to the couch or to the seat because they don't want to move to grab things, right?
Right.
And what it becomes is a seesaw.
Right.
Because to your point, what you're saying is these people, they stay busy, they don't eat. And it's this. But for a fat person, it's we don't stay busy, we eat, and it becomes this, right? So now we're eating and putting on calories and also not burning calories, and it's this vicious cycle, right?
Right. And instead of you adapting to your environment,
correct,
to the needs of life, you're adapting your life to your eating.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I mean?
For
so
sure.
It's like, and your laziness.
Correct. So how's your diet been?
It's actually not been good. Well, I mean, since we were in Ohio, it wasn't that good because, we're eating all the stuff, the locals eat and stuff like that. But like, it's like I have like, I'll do good for a couple of days. And then it's like, I get all like, it's almost like I go blind. Like it's like you black out for like 3 days and you're like, oh snap, what did I just do?
Yeah.
It's like this like vicious, it's like this vicious cycle. You know what I mean? So I haven't been, you know what it is? I think what I need is I have a plan. I need to have a plan. And so with the plan, I think I need a regimen and I need like an outside person. Oh, thank you. I need an outside person to give me like accountability.
Yeah.
You know, I need that pressure almost, I think, from now. But you know, I was thinking, you know, like yesterday, you know, I think I noticed like when I think about my bad habits, there is I realize like I eat when I'm bored.
Sure.
Like, and I think part of that is like, you know, I drink a lot of caffeine. Mm-hmm. And I think what's it's also like this anxiety, but like I don't feel like I have anxiety, but like I notice like when I drink like an energy drink or something like that, like I bite my nails more, like I'm very fidgety.
Yeah.
And eating is part of like that fidgety,
keeping your hands busy, like a cigarette smoker.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think that's really what's killing me. Cause like, you know, like I'll be done eating and then like when we were in Ohio, we would have like a good meal or whatever. And then right around like 11 o'clock, you know, like we're watching TV. I'm not even hungry. I'm like, let me go get a snack.
You want a snack?
You know, and then that snack becomes a sandwich. You know, so then I was doing so much unnecessary eating. But, you know, I think one of the things like I noticed, and I've had this realization a lot of times, and I think I have to like remember it, is that eating is like a drug. It's completely a drug. Food is a drug. I'm sorry. But it's like you're chasing a high that lasts. Like I don't even take a long time to eat my food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like when you ate, at least you would like cook it and then like take time. Like I would make the most like not even good food. Like I make like the most laziest sandwich, you know, and I would enjoy it, but I would eat it within not even 5 minutes.
Yeah. You would scarf it down. It's not.
It was like scarfing, and then it's like if all that. So I just mess myself all up for 3 minutes of pleasure, right? Which I mean, I guess ruins everybody, you know.
Yeah,
chasing
for sure.
That pleasure thing, but the problem is with food, you gain weight.
Yeah, well, before we get to that, because there's like some stuff that I do want to talk about that, but yeah, I realized that I'm 100% bulimic, and I didn't want to admit it at first. I thought I was for a little bit. It's funny, right? Because it's not funny, but it's hilarious. Right. It's fucking hilarious because I was talking to Vic about this the other day. We were playing basketball, and I was like, it's crazy to think that I don't think I've ever not had an eating disorder. The difference was my eating disorder previously was like gorging myself with food constantly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just couldn't help myself. I couldn't help but shovel food into my stomach, right?
Right.
And then as I got to this point where I hit this weight loss kick and boom, I'm losing weight. Right now I'm losing weight. I'm kicking ass, right? My eating disorder then shifted to suit those needs, where now I am for sure bulimic. You know what I mean? Right. And I want to be clear about something. Although I am bulimic firmly, but bulimia, I don't think people realize. So I looked this up the other day. I was talking to Christian about this, and he was like, "Bro, you sure you're not bulimic?" I was like, I walked into 1,000 circles about why I wasn't until I circled back to the point that was like, "Oh, I am for sure. I am." Right. And bulimia, they consider bulimia, if you do this once a week on average, okay?
Yeah.
Which is binge eat and then either throw up, feel like mad guilty or whatever, and then or like work out after that to compensate for what you just ate, like working out extra hard to do that. And I was like, shit. All of us might be a little bit bulimic, you know what I mean? All of my friends, some of us do that. I've been throwing up, and I do it sometimes twice a week. You know what I mean? Like last week, I had a really, really, really bad fucking week. It wasn't a bad week. It was 4 fantastic days dieting and working out.
Yeah.
2 days where I worked out and ate hilariously bad. Right. And 1 day where I ate really bad too. And when I say hilariously bad, it's just like things that it just doesn't even make sense, right?
Right.
Like what were you even thinking? Not only that, but then it causes me to spend more money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is really like when I look at money issues, you know what I mean? Which I would not say that I have money issues like the worst person, but I'm not great with money, and it has everything to do with eating.
Yep.
Because even when I just didn't want to admit it before, it's that on my way home from work, I stop and that's $15.
Yep.
Right. On my way to work, that's $10. Lunchtime, $15. Get home, order food. That's on my bad days. This is going to be the scary part.
Right.
On my bad days, you're talking about an easy 120 ordering food.
Wow.
Easily. Because what'll happen is this is and like scary. I'll order breakfast. Right. Okay. That's $25 bucks.
And also this is also it's not so much that you're getting $25 worth of food. It's because all the fees and all that.
All stuff. The fees, the tip, and all that. Right. Correct. Yeah. So let's be clear about that. It'll be one meal. But here's the other thing about things like bulimia, and this is going to lead to what you're talking about the addiction, about food being addictive. $25, right? I throw that up. Well, what happens if you're bulimic? What happens to you when you throw up food is your body has compensated for the calories that you think you've absorbed. Now, we've had this conversation about how our minds will conceive a certain amount of calories, and the chemistry in our bodies will adjust to the amount of calories we believe we're taking in, okay? Well, if your body thinks that you just took in 1,500 calories and you expel that, you actually start fiending for more food, right? So that's 25 right there. Then I order lunch. That's like another 25, 30. I do the same exact thing. Then another 25, 30 later, I do the same exact thing. And then another 25, 30 later, I do the exact same thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, it'll be a day that you're essentially driving on a highway going 120 miles an hour and your tire blows out. Yeah. And it's a day where you're constantly in that exact situation, just trying to maintain yourself so that the next day you can bounce back from this. You know what I mean?
Now, when you throw up, is there in your head, is there a justification that like, oh, okay, so those calories didn't count that I ate?
So here's the thing.
So I don't feel as bad.
Here's the funny thing about why I didn't think I was bulimic.
Yeah.
Right? Because I thought reasoning mattered. So that's one. Reasoning doesn't matter, right? So I just want to put that out there. I was doing it because I had lost so much weight. My stomach had shrunk so significantly.
Yeah.
I can't eat the same.
Right.
Like, I just can't. You know what I mean? I don't have the capacity. I can never, ever do any of the eating competition things that we used to do back in the day. I just can't compete anymore.
Yeah.
And I would feel so physically uncomfortable that I would end. I just have to throw up because I can't. I'm talking about. I'm sitting down and I can't even breathe. I'm like, no, I can't do it. Like, I'm gonna die. And I end up throwing up. And I thought that it was different. You feel me? Because I thought a bulimic person might go and throw up because they're trying to justify cutting these calories out before it gets absorbed into your system. What I know factually about purging is that you actually have no clue how many calories, because from the moment the food hits your stomach, you begin absorption of calories.
Yeah. Even tasting it, because I listened to I was listening to a podcast, and this artist, he's like a millionaire now, but he's like, he kind of admits that he's excessive in all, like with women and food and things like that. So, you know, he said
I wish my mom was with women. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, and he said, but he was like almost like, you know, like how some people are so rich they don't even. You're so rich that it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah.
You know, so like he was being real blunt about it, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, he was like, you know, he said I love going out to eat. Like, I love good food, you know, whatever. And he said what he was doing was he was chewing the food and putting it in a napkin.
Spitting it out. Yeah.
So then later on, he was doing that for a couple weeks, and then he was having bad stomach aches. And the doctor said, yeah, what happens is as soon as you put that food in your mouth, your stomach is already triggered to make more acid.
Correct.
Right, because they already it's going to have to go to work.
Correct.
So you basically are tricking your body, and you have all this acid in your stomach that you don't need.
Correct.
So it's just like, it's insane how the body works, but how like that is like just tasting it, you know?
Correct. Correct. No,
how crazy is that?
That's the point. That's the point. Our chemistry gets altered by the food we're eating, which is going to bring us to this food addiction thing, because yeah. So you purge the food, but your body is now fiending more for food.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now it's fiending, and it needs something to compensate for what you've just purged. Now, last week was hilariously bad. I'm talking about, I never had so many Federal donuts in my life. I'm going to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
No wonder it costs so much.
And what's funny, I pushed the prices up. And what's funny is, I told a friend of mine this. We were having a conversation about cheat days, which I was hiding behind for a while.
Right.
I would be like, I'm going to have a cheat day today. And what that really meant was, I'm about to binge eat today. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was psychologically making it an acceptable thing to do. And I told him, because social media being a drug too, sometimes when I'm having a bad day, because at 9:30, you'll see me put like a selfie up that's gonna gas me a little bit to make me feel better about the decisions I'm making over here, right? Wow. It's like, I'm gonna feel good about this. I'm gonna get gas from this, and I'm gonna feel good enough to accept this shit that I'm gonna do over here that's terrifying. This is it's gonna be a very humbling experience anyway. So yesterday I didn't do great. Yesterday I didn't have a good day either. But definitely wasn't as bad as previous. Actually, I ordered a vegetable pizza and wings, and I actually threw away half of the food, because I was like, I'm about to do exactly what I always do. I'm going to eat 8 slices and throw them all up. You know what I mean? So I ended up having 4 slices over the course of the day, and I just threw the rest of the food away. What I actually ended up doing, which seems extreme, but I took, I have cleaning spray, and I just sprayed the pizza with cleaning spray. And I was like, there's no hope now that I'm fucking touching this. You know what I mean? You would have to be really crazy now. You know what I mean?
Right.
The point being, one of the things I wanted to mention, people should understand about all of these people you see on Instagram who work out, lose weight, things like that. Most people who are obese suffer from some mental health issues, or have mental health issues resulting from spending their life this way, that are unchecked. And when they start losing weight will fix the physical part of that, and may fix their self-esteem and do things like that, right? But now I'm left with these mental health issues that are rearing their head in a completely weird, fucking different way. So, and because also I know the other day, the reason I brought this up is because you mentioned it to me, and you seemed in a place that you were worried about yourself. You were like, damn, I'm fucked up. And I wanted you to know that, I'm doing good, and I'm losing weight, and I'm getting healthy, no question. But I am struggling too. You feel me? Like, and with all of this happening, it's even harder, because Christian always suggests, why don't you do Noom? And even you said you were thinking about talking to a nutritionist, and we're going to talk about this in a second. And I was like, the thing is, I know what needs to happen. That's not my problem. I know exactly what I need to eat. I know exactly what I should be putting into my body to get what I need. I know how to portion. I know more about nutrition than most people, than any healthy person that I know, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, I could talk most people under the table about nutrition. That's not the problem. Nutrition and working out, I could train you to become your best self. No question about it.
Right.
It's a food addiction. It's a completely different story. There is no logic when everything collapses and I start binge eating. There's no logic behind that.
Yeah, because the thing is, some people, like, there's some people who are big because they have bad habits.
Correct. They don't know better, or they have bad habits. Correct.
Yeah. So that's it. Like, there's people who, like, for example, my wife's dad, right? He's diabetic. Mm-hmm. So when they found out he was diabetic, he switched from from regular Coke to Diet Coke, and he shredded like 20, 25 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Like you can, like that's a bad habit. I mean, drinking soda is not the best thing.
Yeah.
But give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I give him the evil eye.
Yeah.
So yeah. So those are there's people who are big because of that. Like they honestly don't know better.
Yeah.
Right. And so they make like little changes that we all know you should do, and and they'll lose weight. But then it comes to the food addiction piece, where it's like you need it. It's like food becomes like almost like a crutch, but almost like a bobo or like a pacifier or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That it fills something, right? Yeah. So I look at some of my bad habits and I'm like, this is insane. Mm-hmm. And I'll look around and I make it's like there's like a again, it's like I black out. I'll stop at Wawa for something. Mm-hmm. Or it's just me feeling like I need to stop. I don't need to stop. Mm-hmm. I'll be on the way to work or, something, and I'll stop midway between a 25-minute ride for a drink. And, I'm not going to just get a drink. I'm going to get a snack or whatever. And just to last me the last 10 minutes when I'm about to eat dinner when I get home. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's the amount of money. You're right. It's a financial thing. And the thing is this the lowest you've ever been?
No.
Or were you lower at, or were you lower at when you were on Atkins that first time?
No, the lowest I was pre-Rachel. All right. So first Atkins. So I'll give a quick history on my weight loss.
Yeah.
First time I did Atkins, I lost about, I don't remember now, maybe 100, 110 pounds around that area. Yeah. I was down about 330 was my lowest at that time.
Okay.
All right. Then I ballooned back up to about 440-ish in that range. And that's when I got the lab band put in. Now, right. The lab band only did so much, probably got me down to 370 before I lost my job at Temple. Right. And at that point I became like an athlete. Like we talked about jokingly, right. After you left whatchamacallit, I had become almost an athlete where I would go running twice a day, playing basketball, working out. I was essentially working out 6 hours a day. Yeah. And eating pretty good. Right. But my lab band had very little to do with it, I would say, which is important to know in a second. So pre-Rachel, Rachel is my son's mother, for those who don't know. Pre-Rachel, I was down to 305, 300. I was around there. Then Rachel ballooned up to 500. You know what I mean?
500.
Yeah, that's where I started when I started this. When I started losing weight in August 2017 was when this started.
500.
Correct. Yeah, I ballooned up to 500. With Rachel, I was hovering between 450 and 500 pretty much that whole time. Came back here, 2017, I was at 500. That's when I thought I was having a fucking heart attack that day.
Yeah.
Started losing weight, and now I'm about 310, 320. Okay. You know what I mean? Now, last August, I was about 300. Then this year was I was just struggling up until January. Yeah. And then and I want to talk about that too. So let's talk about this. And this is going to come back to your point.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not quite at my lightest, but I would say I have the most muscle on my body than I've ever had. I'm far stronger than I've ever been before.
Yeah. And that's important to know because
correct.
Body fat and muscles,
the way
your composition is different. Like you could have been 310, like straight, like
there are skinny, obese people. Listen, I played with Dominic Jefferson basketball today. If you listen to this, shout out to him. Yeah. You remember Dominic? We went to high school with him. I played with him and his older son, and I run circles on Dominic. You know what I mean? We joke around about it all the time. He just doesn't have the endurance to keep up with me. I can run circles around most people. You feel me? And I might be heavier than you, but I can run circles. And the reason I bring that up is because I think we'll talk about that at the end of this. The way we talk about weight loss, health, how much one person weighs, that conversation needs to evolve more. So we'll talk about that at the end of this. One thing to your point about like that thing where you stop home and eat, right? We sometimes mistake healthy habits with much like a person who's addicted to drugs will get unaddicted to drugs by getting addicted to something else.
Right.
When I was losing my weight over the last 2 years, what I had to reconcile with during the pandemic, the thing I had to face, right, the scariest part of this was that I would go to the gym for 4 or 5 hours a day.
Right.
And I would go to a far gym. So I was subtracting 5 hours out of my day.
Right.
Take this trip to the gym, be there for 3 hours, take the trip back, right? Subtract 5 hours out of my day almost, the showering and all of that, right? That's about 5 hours out of my day where I can't fuck up. Right. You know what I mean? So it's breakfast and well, let's say breakfast at 8, whatever, go to the gym at 10, be back home by 3 o'clock. And then all of a sudden I'm having one meal for dinner and it's like a protein shake at night, and boom, I'm done. There's no chance for me to fuck up. Because one habit that I instilled early was I won't eat past 6 p.m. typically. Right. Like 90% of the time past 6 p.m. I'm not eating. And that doesn't change because I hate how I feel. I can't fall asleep. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I essentially limit my window between 6 and 2. It's a 4-hour window where I'm like, I got to just make it through these 4 hours. As long as I make it through here, we're good. Well, that's not actually building a good habit. That's essentially replacing bad habits with a habit that's healthier. But if that's gone all of a sudden, I can't manage anymore. Exactly. Right. So being without with the pandemic now, I had to face that in its face. What are you going to do now when you're home all day and you can't go to the gym for mad hours, right? So I've been slowly building good habits, and that's one thing I want to be clear about too. Like if anyone listens to this and is like, man, I feel bad for Brian, don't. I've built a lot of great habits. What happens is one day a week on average, it collapses, and I have a fucked up day. Yeah. And let's talk about that. One thing that we don't talk about enough when it comes to weight loss, we talk about habits. We talk about habits and working out and diets without truly ever. This is where my mind has been more lately. And I have been talking about this for years, but had not spent the amount of time really, really necessary. And we've talked about this actually. Yeah. When we talked about racism, we talked about how if you're in the hood, and actually someone I'm talking to or whatever, I was talking to them, they live out in Jersey. And I had joked about when I had moved in with Rachel all those years ago, you can't, past 8 p.m., I couldn't find a fast food place open. Yeah. But here at 2 a.m., if I want to go get something to eat, that's a 5-minute drive. Yep. And it's going to be trash, and it's going to be bad, right? And what we need to start acknowledging, right, because the main thing, so this was a really long about thing to talk to you about the thing you were talking about, going from this place to this place and eating food. Right. The main problem, it seems like most people have with weight loss and being overweight is our blood sugar spiking, right? Our blood sugar spikes, and what happens is we begin fiending for food. That's what brings on the addiction. That's what brings on that seemingly quenchable need to eat some fucked up shit, because what we feel, our bodies are feeling for a chemical reaction that we can only get in high processed foods, sugar, high processed fats and shit like that we start chasing now. You know what I mean? Because our blood sugar spiked. So so what I've been doing lately, like yesterday, I never eat celery. I don't like celery, right? But yesterday I had gotten those wings and that pizza, right? And I tossed the wings and the pizza away, but I knew that wasn't enough. Right. Because I just knew it wasn't enough. So I ate the celery. I was like, let me eat this celery, right? Because that's going to help bring down my blood sugar and give me a healthy option. And it's going to give me an opportunity to not fall into that, to not let my mind convince myself, to not let my body, these feelings convince myself that I need this food. You know what I mean? Because we essentially start, it's, to your point, it's an addiction. It's the worst addiction. It's worse than drugs because we need food. You know what I mean? And depending, it's such a tight rope that depending what food you put in your body might cause you to fall apart and get addicted to some other shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was the thing. So I've been watching a lot of videos about that. You know what I mean? Like watching doctors and scientists talking about sugar addiction and things that we can do to essentially get rid of them, different snacks, different foods that will lower those chemicals. Because essentially what happens is food becomes our, like a gratifier to us. You know what I mean? Whether you're busy, whether you're sad, whether you're happy, because we find every excuse to eat food. Right? When we're sad, we need food to make us happy. When we're happy, we need food to increase that happiness. When we're busy, we need something to do. Food is something to satisfy another thing, right? And we use it to satisfy everything. You know what I mean? And eating foods that will cut that need for satisfaction out is necessary. So I've been working on that. And here's a good example of that. I'm sorry, I've been talking for a minute. I'm rambling. I'm rambling, but I'm on one here. Here's an example of something that I realized recently. I realized this last week. So a few weeks ago, I had switched over from brown rice to eating cauliflower rice. But the problem with what I was doing was I was actually way too low in calories. You're talking about once you switch over from brown rice to cauliflower rice, I was cutting out probably 600 calories a day. And now I'm at 800 calories. I'm consuming 800 calories of food. And that's, if you know anything about weight loss, that actually is not good either. You know what I mean? You could fuck around and gain weight that way, which is why how we talk about weight loss has to evolve, because calories is not the end all be all. So I was all right. So I started, and also because I got sick of cauliflower rice. You know what I mean? It's not that good. It's just not that good tasting. So then, So then I said, okay, let me start making brown rice again, right? And that fucked me up. Because then I started eating a cup of brown rice with cauliflower rice. So I was cutting it essentially. I was stepping on the brown rice with cauliflower rice. The cup of brown rice started making me fiend for more brown rice. And all of a sudden, I'm eating an extra serving of brown rice. So then I jumped from 800 calories to consuming 1,900 calories a day by accident. So then I realized I needed. So then, like this week, I started really getting scientific. So I was doing a cup of cooked brown rice, and that was making me eat more brown rice. Then I started doing 3/4 of a cup of brown rice, and I was still getting those pangs. Then I cut it to half a cup of brown rice and up the protein a little bit, and all of a sudden I was good. You know what I mean? I wasn't fiending anymore. I was I was in the place where I could just chill and be happy. You know what I mean?
And those are those things where it's like you're learning, you know, and there's no like, it's about making good choices and figuring it out.
Correct.
What happens is too many people. Give me a second.
Go do your thing.
Hey, she's right over here. Too many people. Go with mommy. Too many people they hit a wall and that's it. You know what I mean? They're like, well, what else am I gonna do? You know what I mean? So I think that's where you know, it's figuring out, you know, learning how your body works and things like that. And it's making it like it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy.
Nope.
It's not easy. But it does become easier once you make it a habit.
And more than that, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we need to understand how the chemistry of our bodies and the food that we're taking in is how we're going to create the habit. Right? It's how we're going to make the habit. It's a science class. The way you're actually going to cut out bad food and stop feeding for fats and sugars and refined shit is by replacing it with something that's not good. Because I think sometimes we think 1-to-1. right? The way we're taught weight loss is, well, replace this Snickers candy bar with this head of lettuce, and that way you won't be hungry for the Snickers candy bar.
Right.
That don't make no fucking sense.
Right,
No,
right,
I want the gratification of the Snickers candy bar.
Yeah, because they don't taste the same.
But what you need to do is, when you eat breakfast, you're actually going to add something, because that's when you're at your best, right?
Right.
That's when you have the most willpower in the day, is when you first wake up, right? You're able to make all the logic decisions. That's why later on at night is when people fuck up all the time, right?
Right.
The first 6 hours of the day, all of a sudden you're good. So what you actually need to do is, when you eat breakfast, you're going to fill your breakfast with foods that are chemically in a responsible way, are going to make you react in a way that you're not going to fiend for this later on tonight. Right. That's not going to allow your blood sugar to spike, where now you're chasing highs everywhere. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to say. Like, we're making a habit it's a chemistry class more than we ever realized it was. We thought it was a willpower class.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not a willpower class. It's about getting our brains rewired to work for ourselves.
Right. And that's the thing, like, and on that same thing, like, you know what things, like, there's certain foods that do certain things to your body, right? So if you eat a slice of pizza or, whatever, you're going to know things that are going to trigger you, right? But then you also know the things that you're going to eat and you're not going to feel good later.
Yes.
Right? And then that becomes a spiral, because when you're not feeling good, then you think, oh, what makes me feel good? Food, right? So if I feel like, if I drink a lot of soda or whatever and I feel bloated, I don't feel good, but for some reason my brain says chill with the eating. It's like, oh, I don't feel good. I want to feel good. Let me eat something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? So so knowing those things too, because I think that's a big thing. Like, when I look at the insane habits I have now, like, there's a lot of times where I feel like blah. I feel bloated. And the thing is, when you go on a diet, like you start changing your eating habit, right? If you do that for, like, in a good way, for like a week, you instantly feel better.
Yep.
It's without a doubt, you're going to feel 100 times better. Yeah, you're still fat, but, and you might have lost a couple pounds, but it's not really those pounds that is making you feel better. It's that you're not bloated. Correct. You're not, like, you don't have all, like, you're not swollen, and things like that. All your body is starting to chill. Yeah. Right? And not over, you're not taking like 8 smashes a day, because your body can't. I never had to do that, but you're not going to you're not, like, your body, you're giving your chance.
Well, but actually
process the food.
Your bowel, the movement, your bowel movements when you take your shit is actually an enjoyable thing. If this feels good, right? You feel like you're emptying, you're actually emptying your body in a healthy, positive way,
right.
As opposed to that constipated one you took yesterday and is bleeding. I'm sorry, that's disgusting. I don't want to even. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. To that point, it's not just about how you physically feel, right?
Yeah.
But you're eating foods that are chemically not, like, off-centering you. You know what I mean? Because one of the worst things about fast food is how it, like again, it's like, I can't talk enough about how it alters the chemistry of us. You know what I mean? This food alters our chemistry. Like, listen, there are a million scientific articles on this. You can find this shit wherever you want. Studies about how these things, which is everyone's favorite thing to go to. There was a famous study done where they addicted a mouse to cocaine and to sugar.
Yeah.
And when they gave the mouse the opportunity to pick one or the other, that the mouse took sugar every single time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's a far more potent drug than we even realize. And because we need sustenance, we convince ourselves that it's fine.
Yeah, and sugar's in everything.
Correct. Sugar is in fucking everything.
Some form. And people don't realize that.
Correct.
Like, just because it's not sweet doesn't mean that it doesn't have sugar.
And because then people
turns into sugar.
People convince themselves that, okay, so let me eat fruit. But eating a lot of fruit isn't completely the answer either. Fruit can be good for you, but fruit is high in sugar. It's a better sugar, sure, than eating a fucking muffin, but it's not a great sugar. Really, the answer is vegetables and proteins and unrefined carbohydrates that our bodies can actually utilize, oats and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So wait, what was the point I was gonna make? So yeah, so you start eating good, and all of a sudden you mentally, your mental health improves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not only does your mental health improve, but as I've been told, a lot of people say I look young, which I had not realized. And that's something that happened because when I was with Rachel, I think I actually looked older than I look right now. You know what I mean?
Right,
and this youthful glow that I have is because I 100% changed the way I ate. I started eating far cleaner food.
Right.
But again, I still fall apart. You know, again, I still have my issues. But the point being, your body is like a very highly complicated engine and machine that doesn't run on one-to-one chemical reactions. You know what I mean? It's not a car. You put gas in the car, you fire it up, boom, the battery starts and you're off, right? Our bodies are far different than that. You know what I mean? If you increase this protein, our hair grows healthy. If you increase that protein, our skin looks good. If you increase that protein, better teeth health. All types of shit like that, that when you're eating a meal at McDonald's, literally nothing that you just ate is going to improve anything about you. And it's made in a way to make you hungrier and want more food, right? And sometimes I gotta cope. And sometimes I gotta, and sometimes